Whitlock called me this morning. Wants me on the show about this Pat Fitzgerald thing. Right before we went live, Big Smitty and I, Smitty had to take over because I got a phone call from one of Pat's former coaches and OCs calling bullshit on this racial thing, calling BS on all this whole situation. He's been there 17 years as a head coach. He played there. I got a few players that have also sent me some texts that I showed you guys. Very disturbing situation. I guess nowadays we are clearly guilty before innocent. I think the cancel culture has basically infiltrated the presidents and ADs at these universities. They're so soft and can care less about a mentor, a coach, or someone that served your university for half their life or more. And now you got kids from 15 years ago coming out saying he was racist and then come back out and say, I love coach. And like two completely different DM or social media posts by the same person. The guy that was actually there as an O-lineman who blames Fitzgerald for racial slurs, basically now came out and said I was kidding or whatever, but it's too late. Like, where are we at nowadays? Like,
well, if I'm Northwestern and I'm an advocate of the football program and I'm a Fitzgerald guy, I would pull all my support from the program. Whatever donations I give, cancel season. Look, if you want to do that game, if Northwestern administration is going to fold like a tent and cancel Coach Fitzgerald, I would return the fire in kind. I really would. I would just say, look, that check that I write. Yeah, I mean, that check that I write every year, it's just going to it'll go to my beer money. I'll just buy kegs of beer. My season.
Steve, I don't know if it can go to baseball because it looks like baseball is having the same situation. They're now calling a guy that's been there forever toxic coach.
Oh, God. Let me just say, anything that's reported by the general mainstream media when it comes to sports, keep this in mind. Just don't trust it. The old line from Ronald Reagan, trust but verify. And I'm sure you know this. You could have 5,000 players say you're the greatest mentor, coach, leader, role model I've ever had. And one guy can say he was mean to me, and they're going to run with it. There's something about, again, proportionality.
That's what happened to me.
Yeah, it happens to you on a daily. And my view is, if Northwestern really thought this was just worth a 2-week suspension, how did it go from getting a parking ticket to basically a death sentence? I don't get it. I think they folded. And if I'm Northwestern and if I'm a supporter of that program, I pull all my support. I really do. And I'm just saying, I'm good. I hope Pat Fitzgerald fights like hell for his job back.
It's wild too.
I'm gonna go back though. See, that's the difference between me and you. Like, not you, but me and a lot of these coaches that fight for. I'm now at the point where I'm just gonna sue you, clear my name, and go and beat your ass at fucking Iowa. I don't know. I'm just saying I don't want to go back no more because once you don't want me, I don't want you. That's just how it is. But
that's fair.
I don't know.
It's this wild, man. Like, we played when I was at Ball State, we played against Northwestern. As we all know, Northwestern has been, since Coach Fitzgerald has been there, has been a stable, the team stable, like a year in, year out, a respected team. And my thing is, if all this is really going on behind the scenes, racism, all this hazing, one, this would have been came out. Two, in my opinion, it would be a direct effect on the performance and the quality of that team as well. Because if it's nonsense and stuff going on off the field, trust me, that shows on the field as well. And there's so many players that are current players too that have came out and backing Fitzgerald, black players at that, saying I've never experienced any racism at all. Like the reason I came here was because of Coach Fitz. So it's like we're taking the word of a handful of players who probably, like you said, didn't get playing time. Who knows what the reasons were? You know what I'm saying? Or why to put it out. And now we're using that to like truly affect this man's life. He may not get another coaching job. That's very possible.
I wonder if the players will just say, "Okay, we're boycotting." That would take some guts.
Washington State, for 3 of my players, they tried the whole thing in Minnesota when they were going to play Washington State in the bowl game. Minnesota players who I ended up having come to play for me at Indy were wrongly accused on some BS, And the whole place were like, no, we're not going to play Washington State in the bowl. If you remember that a few years ago, it made national news because of a lying female came out and said that these 3 guys, ran the train or whatever, the R word. But in reality, that didn't happen. There was 30 athletes from different sports in the same dorm room, and they boycotted. And Coach Kill, Jerry Kill, was a great man. They all wanted to play for, and they were like, "We know he didn't allow this. We know this didn't happen, and it's BS. And now you're trying to boycott. You're trying to stop us from letting these kids play. We're not going to play the bowl game then." I think Northwestern should take the same approach.
Yeah, and if you're Northwestern, you have to understand one thing. Pat Fitzgerald is a lifer. He's turned down better opportunities or even the chance to inquire about certain jobs. Northwestern is a job that you get for most guys to get another job. In other words, you put together 2 7 and 8 or 9 win type of seasons, you leverage yourself, then eventually you want to get to an Ohio State. And right. Pat's the only guy that would have said, God, this is my dream job. So they better be careful, because that's the thing that I'm seeing in college football. There's probably like 7 jobs that you would consider destination jobs.
By the way, that's cut you off. Didn't he win the damn conference twice now?
Well, he's won the division. And let me just say this.
Division, yeah.
To be there at 17 years and actually have I think 110 and 101 record, people don't realize that's a great job. Yeah, there are programs that where you go 7 and 5 consistently, I would say, man, you're a great coach. Now, there are other programs you go 7 and 5, I'd say, okay, I'm going to put a for sale sign right on your front lawn. You stink. You're Larry Coker, basically. Pat Fitzgerald to bring stability. Now, look, the last 2 years have not been good. They've only won 4 games, 1 game last year. But in the NIL era and the transfer portal era, Northwestern was already a tough job because they have real academic standards. So just the ability to even send out a
population student 4.0, you got to get in there.
Right. So it's one of those schools that's like the Stanford of the Midwest or whatever. So in other words, they basically can only have a pool of about 50 kids every year that they can even recruit. I saw a chart, guys, where the Alabamas, the Clemsons, the Ohio States, they offer or they send out about 325 to 350 letters to people they think, okay, you're on our board. We would actually recruit you. I saw one where Stanford has about 20 guys a year that are actually eligible to be recruited. And mind you, those are the guys that they hope they'll even just visit the campus.
Right.
And then I think Northwestern and Duke are probably all in that same, Vanderbilt's probably. And so if that's the type of school where you have to build that program with a good upper class that you develop, you hope nobody transfers, you hope nobody quits football. So every 3rd year you figure, okay, we've done it. We finally got this. And then guess what? As soon as that season's over, you got to start all over again because it's not like in Alabama where it's a factory. And for him to be 110 and 101 over 17 years and actually make bowl games, have 9-win seasons, 10-win seasons, it's amazing because I don't think anyone would have the passion or the patience for Northwestern like Coach Fitzgerald.
I know. Some people take jobs that they really, really want. Some people take jobs that they really, really need to get the job they want. And that's the difference with this. That's why loyalty means nothing to these PhD holding presidents and athletic directors who will stab you in the back quicker than shit. And it's just crazy how you've put all this into these kids, get these guys degrees from Northwestern, by the way, I think holds water.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, and Northwestern is actually investing into the program, facilities, stadium upgrades, or new stadiums.
$900 million stadium going in Chicago on the Chicago side.
I mean, that is a testament to the job Fitzgerald has done. And I'm just telling you, if I am a Fitzgerald loyalist for the time being, Northwestern, you're dead to me. You are dead to me. I remember growing up in the 80s, Northwestern had like a 34-game losing streak. They literally went like 3 and I remember their coach early on was Dennis Green. And Northwestern, who we thought they were. Don't crown them. But then he moved on. And then they had a coach by the name of Francis Pay. Yeah. And then, obviously, again, tough job. And then when they got Gary Barnett and they made that Cinderella run in 95. And Barnett did a great job. They went to a Rose Bowl where they played USC tough. And then they played in a Citrus Bowl where they played a really talented Tennessee team led by a young Peyton Manning tough. So you got to give Barnett credit. He was like the godfather of it. Then Randy Walker, God rest his soul, it looked like he was going to have a good run. But they will never have a guy in Fitzgerald that's going to say, you know what? I don't care if the NFL calls. Northwestern, that's the job. I mean, who else is going to say that?
Nobody.
Hey, the Chicago Bears have called. No. I'm in Evanston. I'm good at Northwestern. I'm good.
And by the way, he played there and was a really good player for Barnett.
Oh, he was I think he won some defensive awards in '95. I think he won the Butkus Award, and Ray Lewis was the runner-up. Obviously, a clear robbery, by the way. That was like Pernell Whitaker and Julio Cesar Chavez. But yeah, Pat Fitzgerald is actually the most decorated player in Northwestern history. 2-time All-American. And if you look at all those awards like the Nagurski and the Butkus, his name is on the trophy.
So like D Jones keeps bringing up, wait, this guy went 1-11 last year. So wait, are we firing him for going to 1-11? Or are we firing him for making up lies that he's racist? That's the bottom line. Which one is the truth? Don't make up bullshit to get a guy blackballed in his life when really in theory you just wanted to fire the guy for his record. Because just come out and say that. By the way, the guy that called me before this show, the AD's not even in this country. Like, this guy's been investigating this for 6 months, Steve, and now you've come out with a 2-week suspension, and then now all of a sudden a student paper writes a false report, and you got players from 15 years ago lying, and now you're going to fire them.
Yeah, and by the way, if I'm the players, I mean, it's funny, I say to the media member, I would never talk to the student paper. I just, excuse me, who are you from, student paper? Yeah, golf. I just be dicks now at this point. Honestly, I just do not trust the media. I do not trust what is going on with these mainstream sources in the student paper. Look, they get all so political. They've all become over politicized, flat out woke. I know people are not going to like that term, but I used it. I just don't trust them. I remember 2 years ago or during the COVID season where it seemed to me like the national media did not want the college football season to go on. They were striking out against it, but thankfully, great Americans like Ryan Day, Trevor Lawrence, and Justin Fields, and the SEC, because they have their priorities straight. Those are fine people. They'll say, we like football. But some of these media members were trying to stir up this division that why we shouldn't play football. I remember one group was trying to get the Pac-12 players were trying to form a union, and they weren't going to play football. And I'm thinking, all you're doing is making these young men who have a great opportunity to act disgruntled and be very, very, let's just put it this way, ungrateful for the opportunities they have. But as soon as the SEC decided to play football, guys like Kevin Warren, the Big Ten, and the Pac-12, we're going to play football too. Because you know why? The SEC, they are serious people. They understood we are football players. We are football programs. We are football men. We are a football country, and they say football. And
coaching, Steve, it's real simple. This is how we put it. Winners find a way. Losers make excuses. And you see basically the rest of the country making excuses as to why they're not good. And you see the SEC continuing to figure out a way to win.
Because you know why? It's an old saying from Bud Wilkinson at Oklahoma. He says, I hope to have a university that never embarrasses my football program. Yes. Yes. God bless you. That is having the proper priorities. By the way, I want to address the 1-11. You're at Northwestern. It's going to happen. You're going to have some down years. And by the way, and my view is once you show the new stadium, you have the new facilities, you could tell a kid that's 50-50 that wouldn't have gone to Northwestern saying, okay, you know what? I kind of like what's going on here. Look, Northwestern is one of those programs. They're going to have dips and they're going to have lulls. And in the NIL era and transfer portal, I get the sense they're not one of those schools that's going to be delved deep into it, which puts them at a further disadvantage. So the question would be, okay, you can rip Fitzgerald for 1-11. Your record is what it says it is. However, I don't think it's always the same. It's Northwestern. He is not at Alabama or Ohio State or Clemson.
I agree.